Okay. Got it.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, hello.
So you're not feeling it today?
No, no. Um I'm feeling nervous about this.
Yes.
You know, before that I'm fine because my hair's looking really good.
It really does. I want to
I know.
say, I don't
I
know
have
how you're curling it, but it looks great.
I've noticed I appear to be going bald here, which is I'm like, I need to color that in with a black
Do you have
felt
do you
pen.
have a Sharpie?
I'm gonna be like doing a little because I'm like, what's that? Or not that, because there's no hair there. Yeah, so before joining you, feeling really cool, funky, going to see my friend in Bristol. It's her birthday tomorrow, really excited. Pulled this out of a drawer because I remembered it. And I'm like, oh yeah, got different earrings in.
Shut up. You're wearing them. I didn't even notice.
Feather and then something else. So yeah, very excited for my day and my weekend, but noticing coming into this call, I'm feeling nervous. My hands are clammy, and the thoughts going around in my head are, we don't have a topic for today.
Mhm.
I mean, we've got a list of topics, but we haven't chosen a topic.
Yes.
I'm ill prepared. How can I possibly show up in this conversation?
Oh my
Just
God.
thinking about unhooking my bra. You could tell, couldn't you? You could tell I was going to unhook my bra.
Do it. Do it. Do
You
it.
are
Do it. Do it.
do it, do it. You are the devil, Garner. You really are. So yeah, just kind of like, well, what am I going to say? Because I don't have a topic to hang on to. I don't have something to hang on to.
Okay,
Save me!
so
Save
I'm going
me!
to jump in, throw you a
Do
life
please.
preserver. I'm really present to this is precisely what you've asked of somebody else within our leadership team. You're
Mm.
literally experiencing. So just to give some
Mm.
context to our listener, um, part of leadership is being willing to
Mm.
jump in even when, especially when we don't have a clue. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my hand up. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to get on this call. I don't have a topic. I haven't prepared. And showing
Mm.
up and trusting
Mm.
that we'll figure it out, that you will figure it out.
Mm. That's a great observation. I loathe you for it.
You mean love. You mean
Sorry,
love.
it came out wrong. Meant to say love. I said loathe.
Love.
Mm. Nice. Raspberries to that.
Yeah. And how beautiful. Like
Okay.
we all do it. We
We all
all
do
want to
what?
know. Um,
Oh.
good. So,
Hey,
bitch,
what's
um,
happening?
we all want to know.
Mm.
We just want to know. I can't say yes until I know. I can't come on until I know. So think about like all of the places where,
Mm.
like, even I'll just speak for myself. I feel a lot better when I
Do.
can when I can think about all the potential possibilities in the future and then like make a plan for each of them.
Mm.
And how many times that actually, the more I start to dig into that and the more I'm like, okay, I'm pre-planning, this is organized, this is mature, this is what professionals do, this is what a good parent does, whatever. I notice it actually drives up my anxiety. It actually makes me feel more anxious.
What, by planning?
Yeah. And
How so?
because now I'm like, I'm living in the future of all my different possibilities. And for some reason, my theory is it's just exhausting.
Mm.
And like because if that happened, and then I have to like remember, and then I have to be vigilant, and then I have to like do all the things versus like sometimes I'm able to, very rarely I'm practicing, but when I can just show up and not know, yes, it's a different level of anxiety. It's a different anxiety itself, but it seems to it's not as heavy, it's not as like hard to lift. It's just like, yes, I don't know what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to just trust that we will figure it out. And then I notice like the anxiety goes down.
Mm.
The more I practice, the more confidence I gain with that. Confidence is a result, right?
Mm. For listeners who can't see me, I'm just breathing.
Yes.
There we go.
You're looking a
Mm.
little, it is occurring to me over here a little bit of irritation on you.
Um, yeah, mildly annoyed.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that and my head is creating stories as to how this is different to the
Oh,
situation in our leadership group. Um, and I know they're distractions. It's not really like, oh, how different is it?
let's
It's
go into that. Yeah.
yeah, it's more, how can I make this wrong? It's more a case of, okay, what is here for me? I don't have an answer
It's okay.
for what is here for me. Um, mm, feel some kind of weight on me, like a pressure. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a little uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Rock in your shoe kind of a thing. Like,
Mm.
this is obnoxious.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it is beautiful irony
Always.
that that today we were like, oh yeah, we'll just think of something in the moment, even though we've written it out. And that seemed fine until it came to it. And my hands are still hot. My hands are hot, a bit clammy.
Hmm.
So I'm having a physical experience.
Yeah.
Mm. What I noticed about I'm probably stepping out of my own experience a little, um, is the difference between the anxiety around when I'm planning
Yeah.
and my mind is creating all of those stories,
Yep.
and the anxiety that's created when I'm like now doing something in the moment, because there's actually less to think about. There's less for me to be
Yes.
anxious about because there isn't. So I can think of a bunch of things like, I won't think of anything to say. What I say won't be useful or meaningful or good or clever or brilliant or interesting. Um, it'll be a flop. The last one was a bit flat. We need to do something different to make this one
We need
better.
to fix something.
Mm. But I pretty quickly run out of things to worry about. Why are you laughing?
Because it's so cute. I love the way
Evil
that
old rat.
I run out of things to worry about. Like,
Mm. Because there's not so much on the table. So it's like, well, I don't know what I'm worrying about. I suppose I
yeah,
could go down the avenue. Well, what if it's this?
yeah.
What if Ali starts talking about dogs and I don't have a dog, so I won't better be in that conversation. Then I'll look stupid because I don't have a dog. Or I suppose I could go down there, but that wasn't where my mind was going. It was very much in that tight loop of kind of like, I won't bring any value. I won't say anything interesting. So it was much closer to home.
Hmm.
Mm.
I love that. I just wrote down there's like a distinction here between like not knowing and vigilance. Like
Mm.
pre-planning, looking out into the future casting, making sure like you're ready for all the different possibilities that can come at you. That's vigilance. And there's an anxiety, there's a pressure, there's a stress that comes along with that. And that looks, feels, smells, tastes, however. right?
Mm,
And then there's another anxiety that comes with like, I'm going to choose not to do that. And I'm just going to show up. And that's a
mm,
different anxiety, which has its own
yeah,
taste, flavor, smell,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
and it makes your hands hot.
Makes my hands hot. Yeah, clammy. Yeah, so anxiety is available both
Yes,
pathways.
perhaps you can still have it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's still available. Um, so now I'm thinking, so what are the advantages of showing up in the moment?
Yeah,
Not
why
saying that
would
there
you?
are, yeah, why would you do it? And I don't want to give the impression that planning, like poo-poo planning, it has no value because it does. But if we just look at the moment for like, what are the advantages of showing up to something not knowing rather than not planning, not knowing what I'm going to talk about or what's going to happen?
What are you practicing when you show up today, not knowing where we're going to go?
I'm I'm practicing trusting you.
Hmm.
I'm practicing trusting me.
Hmm.
Um, it did cross my mind to cancel, to get on the call and say to you, no. And the first thing you said to me when you saw me was, "Are you okay?"
Are you breaking up with me? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because I clearly
it's not
was
you, it's
like
me.
not quite me, but not quite myself or how I can show up. Um, so I think I'm practicing going, kind of going with it, being in it, going along with it rather than getting out of it. Because as I say,
Yes.
canceling came to my head, came into my mind. And I'm practicing trust, which is what I want to create for myself this year in the Forge. That's my project, is practicing trusting
Mhm.
myself,
Mhm.
which means not knowing, trusting myself and following my nose does not mean knowing exactly how it's going to turn out. It's the opposite of that. Like,
It's
I
letting
don't
go of the
know.
plan.
Yes, letting go of the needing to know. And you know how I can be. I took toilet roll with me to Costa Rica.
Yeah, you're a good planner. You're really, really good at it.
Certainly around toileting. So,
Yes.
so yes. Um, so letting go, oh, the irony. We think
Ah,
of bowel movements.
yes. Pun intended.
Unintended, yeah, unintended, pun intended. Um, you know, that's not necessarily where I'm strong or super practiced. I can feel tears coming up into my face. Yeah,
Okay.
I would prefer to know where all the exits are,
Yeah.
exactly what's going to fucking happen. I do not want any surprises.
Yeah. What are the tears about?
About that being true about me,
Uh-huh.
like, I feel a bit vulnerable sharing that, like a bit like, oh, I'm exposing myself
Uh-huh.
on camera.
Is there a
Um,
judgment about that?
yeah, I don't like that about me. I'm making that wrong about me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm making that wrong about me. Um, I feel so much more secure when I know where the
Yeah.
public toilets are, where the exits are. I went to Windsor the other day and I did like 3 emergency wees, and I was like, this is insane. Windsor has toilets. It's all around poo and wee today. Sorry, Tracy. But it's like Windsor has toilets.
I
It's
don't
going to
know.
be
I assume you
okay.
would know that. I assume
Well,
you would
I
even
mean,
know where they are.
Yeah. I mean, most places, even if they don't have toilets, you can pee in a bush. I mean,
I would
like,
like to see that.
okay, that
So
I
when
will
I come
model that for
visit,
you.
we're going to go
Mm-hmm.
pee in bushes at Windsor. I don't know what
Yeah,
Windsor is, but I imagine that the Queen
it's
is
a
there.
town. Yes, yes.
Sorry, it's not the Queen anymore. I'm
It's
sorry.
the king.
It's the
Yeah.
King. I already missed the
Mm,
Queen. So,
I
anyways,
know.
King looking out, and there's Allison
Mm.
whizzing in the bush with her Green Bay
And you're
Packers
tall,
sweatshirt
you're
on.
hard to hide.
Yeah, yeah. Very pale. Also very pale. I stand out in the greenery.
Tall and pale. Oh, thanks for making me laugh.
Mm,
Yeah. So it shows up a lot,
yeah.
kind of like emergency fictitious weeds, because they're usually not real.
Yes.
They're the emergency fictitious weed that I will, and I nearly give myself a hernia trying to squeeze a wee out. Just I don't want any liquid left in me,
All the
so that
liquid. You're like,
all the liquid
squeeze.
out. Yeah. You know. Um, so yeah, there's definitely um this need for, security. I don't want to be caught off guard. Don't want to be caught surprised.
Yeah, there's some
Don't
kind of
like it.
relationship you have with
Go.
surprises.
Yeah, I'm like, what if I don't like it? Someone surprises me with a gift. My friend Tamsin gives me presents. She's like, you won't like it. That's because she's allowed me to practice going, I'm wrapping it and going, I don't like it, thank you. And
You
then
have
giving it
toilet
back.
paper at your desk?
Just because I don't have any tissues.
We're going to fix that when I come to visit too.
I've run out.
Kimberly Clark is like just down the road from where I live. I'm going to stock up. I'm going to bring an
I don't
entire
even know what.
suitcase of tissues.
I
Kimberly
don't know what.
Clark makes Kleenex. I may
Oh,
have gotten
does
that wrong.
she?
Maybe it's not Kimberly. Kimberly Clark makes a brand of Kleenex that is popular all over the world.
Okay. Well, I had some nice panda ones that were made from bamboo, not pandas. And
Rude.
um and they've run out. I've run
Mhm.
out. So I'm using toilet roll. Thanks for highlighting that, Ghana.
Well, we were talking about weeing and then like planning ahead.
Okay.
And then
Oh,
you
so you
held up
thought I
like,
was ready to just duck to the side.
I'm like, you've got toilet paper everywhere. Like
I'm
you really,
ready. Yeah,
you're just
I
always
am
ready.
ready. Yeah. Yeah. So my hands are so clammy. I'm not enjoying this conversation.
Mm, mm. Um, what I'm hearing,
Tiny fraction of faux concern for me. Okay,
mm.
so we'll just keep digging. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
as
go.
much as I want to relieve you of this
Yeah,
discomfort,
I don't believe you want to, but yeah, carry on.
I do want to, and I know that you're a grown-ass woman, you can relieve yourself. You don't need to be rescued.
You have to use
Um,
the word relieve.
this isn't, I don't know what the title of today's podcast is going to be, but it's going to be something.
Relieving yourself.
Play on words. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, it comes from this sense of like safety and security. When I think I know what's going to happen, I feel
mm.
safe. My relationship to surprises is like,
No
I
thanks.
might not like it. I might not know how to deal with this. I might be uncomfortable. And that
Mm.
is, I'm going to go one step further, and that is bad.
Yes, being uncomfortable is bad.
Hmm, awesome. So
Can you
if,
cure me?
no, no, I cannot.
Mm.
I wish I could. Well, what do you think there is to do with that? For all of the people in the world that is like, surprises are bad, planning is good, you should be safe, you should be secure, and you should have plan A, B, C, D, all the way to
Mm.
Z. That's very British of me. We say Z in
You
Oshkosh,
do.
Wisconsin.
You do. Zed, well done. Um, well, part of me wants to say that what I and everyone else should do is the thing that I do from my survival mechanism, which is check all the exits, stock up on toilet roll,
Yeah.
um, say no to stuff because God forbid it's something you don't want or don't like. So just say no. It's just easier.
Hmm.
Um, you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Um,
There's emotion.
Yeah. So that would be, I can come from that place. I do. We know that I did last Sunday. 100 emergency fictitious wees before going to a town full of cafes and toilets. But, God forbid I should be caught on the hop and need a wee and not being able to, and it's not really about the weeing. It can be anything.
It's a great analogy for a lot of different things, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
it can be anything. And so that's one way to go. That's one place to play. And I probably do that multiple times a day without even noticing it.
Sure. It's automatic. Like it just happens. It's part of the thing that happens.
Mm-hmm. And then the other place, which really it's making my neck hot.
Yes.
And I don't want to say it in case you make me do it.
Oh,
It's that kind of feeling. It's like
yeah.
I don't want to even breathe into the atmosphere, the idea that one might experiment with going with it and being with the unknown, with the uncertainty, just breathing. Yeah, I don't want to suggest that in case some MF makes me do it. Mother.
Did you just call me an MF?
Well, I was going to say mother trucker, but yeah, it's like, what if I say it and then somebody makes me do it? What if, and the, I'm sort of slightly confused in my head because this week I've really practiced stepping into the unknown.
Yes.
On several occasions in numerous places.
Yes.
And I've survived, if not thrived, and I've learned, gained so much.
You put down a gigantic energetic weight that you've been carrying around for your entire life.
Yes, and in
I can imagine because
you
you've
don't
been
need to, you
carrying
can
it.
see me.
You can, and it's something that like when you've had this thing over you your whole life and then you actually challenge it, what a relief it is to finally put it down and say the fear was monumental in your mind. And you're stepping into that fear and you're realizing it's there,
Yeah.
but it's not insurmountable.
No, it's the first ring when you drop the pebble in and you get that first ripple.
Yeah.
The other one, the, planning all the options and has so many more ripples.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the training that I delivered.
Yes.
I'm wiping my eyes incredibly carefully because
Your makeup looks so good.
I'm wearing thick black mascara that will just end up like tram lines on my face. Oh, now I've dropped my glasses and I won't better pick them up because I'm not wearing them.
Use your feet.
Got caught in the dark for hours trying to find. So with that training, on Tuesday, it felt like a huge risk.
Yeah.
And I invited people into this not knowing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know either.
Yeah.
And the same with the conversation you're talking about, in our leadership group. I don't know. I don't have answers. I don't know. And the same with the training on Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know how to do this right or do this good or do it well or and there are like so many things, but I'm just going to choose this.
Yeah.
and I'm going to trust myself, and I'm going to trust the people I'm working with, and see what happens. And yes, it can be improved and worked on, and but the experiment worked
How do you know?
because I was watching the people, and they kind of grew a bit in front of me.
They grew. How did you know that they were growing? What were they
I
doing?
could tell by they would chat, they had loads and loads and loads of ideas, and they would just,
Yeah.
it was all
Yeah.
pouring out, and there was nothing, there was no wrong. It was just like,
Yes.
just let it all out, bring what you have. It can be real or imagined. Doesn't have to be real or right or even something you've experienced. Just bring it all, just put it all down. And there were, they created pages of stuff, and I could see their knowledge. They
Mhm.
could see their knowledge, their experience, their understanding. They played, they explored. I mean, yeah. So I know energetically, and I know from the feedback, and I know from, in the moment, where they were kind of like, oh, this, and what about that, and this, and they were drawing on themselves inside, rather than the expectation had been for me to give them stuff. And
I'm writing things. I'm writing words that you're using because I love it. Keep going. I'm not
mm,
ignoring you. I'm
no, thank you. Yeah, the expectation was, it was training. So the expectation was I was going to
impart
download
knowledge.
information. Yes, download information into them and impart knowledge. And it was much more a drawing out and
Yeah.
experiential, and then discussion. And
Reflecting
somebody
on what
actually,
they learned. Yeah.
reflecting, and somebody actually said, oh, I see that, there are whatever, 5 people here, and we would all do it 5 different ways,
Yeah.
and it would all be good.
Yeah.
And so that uniqueness of the individual was available, and honored and present. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I've been playing with this, because this is the thing that I want. This is the breakthrough that I want for myself. I want a breakthrough in trust. I want to break down the bricks in that wall that mean I need to know all the stuff before I will step forward.
Yeah.
Last year going to Costa Rica, I need to know the name, the
Of the
age,
driver,
I need
the
to his
religion,
parents'
his
name.
background information.
Yeah. Yeah. What color hair he has.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when the car stopped up a mountain in the dark,
Yeah.
and we couldn't speak to each other because
You don't speak
my
Spanish, and he
Spanish
doesn't
is
speak.
rubbish, and his English was, better than my Spanish, but still, he just got out of the car and off he went. I'm like, all the windows are down. He's disappeared. We're at the side of the road in the dark. Has he gone to get an axe?
Is this the part where I get?
Is this the bit where the thing I thought was going to happen is going to happen, where I'm dismembered and flung
into the rainforest?
You remember that whole thing last
I
year?
do, because you even had the name that this
Oh,
was like the headline in British news was going to be
yes.
British
So
tourist dismembered by.
yeah, and what actually happened after I kind of went, okay, and he was gone a long time.
Mhm. Probably had to
I
wee.
mean, possibly, or phone home, or I don't know what he was doing. There was nothing there. I mean, I think there may have been like one house or something, but he didn't. I don't know. But because I had the whole taxi to myself, I had my feet up to the side, and I was kind of like, well, if this is it, and I felt pretty relaxed,
Yeah.
actually. If that was what, I didn't like go, right, okay, I need to get out. And I was, I survived that trip.
And you had to trust him to come back.
Mm.
Eventually, like, you didn't know where he went. You didn't know when he was going to come back. You had no clue what was going on, but you finally just said, like, I can't plan ahead because I don't know it. Like, there's not enough pieces to like put something together in a plan. You're just like, shit, I guess I'm just going to relax for a minute and see what happens.
I genuinely was relaxed. I was able to just be there. Yeah. Can you cure me, doctor?
More of that. Do more of that, right? Do more. So what the notes that I'm making is like the reasons why we can make all the logical reasons why we plan ahead. And this is not a conversation around like, we don't ever plan again. Planning is wrong. Going with the flow is right. It's like, no, the world is not black and white. There are times when we have to plan and planning is appropriate. And there are times when it is interesting to practice not knowing, because that's going to happen too. Like, I don't know, a global pandemic. Like nobody really had a plan for that. Okay, fine, maybe people did, and we can argue that. But at the end of the day, like I didn't have a fucking plan. When COVID hit here and schools shut down and we weren't allowed to go anywhere, I didn't have a plan. All I know is we filled up all the gas cans that we have, and we were like, if we have to run away because they shut down the electric grid, we're heading north. We're gonna take the dogs. We're gonna pack our car, and we have all this fuel, and we're just gonna go. That was our plan. Like, I don't know, zombie movies got me all like, we're gonna have to run away because people are gonna be.
I don't watch zombie movies, so I did was buy 200 toilet rolls from a supplier.
Oh my God, we ran out of toilet paper.
Not from the supermarket, from a toilet roll supplier.
I could not have planned for people losing their minds and taking all the TP. Why?
Yeah.
So anyways.
I wasn't one of those people, just want to say.
Thank you.
I got it from a supplier.
Thank you for not doing that. Yeah. We were like using leaves and corn cobs by the end of it. No, I'm kidding. And that's all like gives us this illusion of comfort. Like I feel like when I know what to do, that then I can be confident. And I would like to challenge that that's bullshit. Because the illusion, I'm only comfortable because I have made my world so small and so limited that there's like no chance for anything to happen that I did not plan for. And even like my body language, it's like fucking tense and vigilant and like, and by the way, it just increases the chances that I'm going to get surprised, even though I think it decreases them. It doesn't.
It increases my chances that I'm going to get surprised.
Because you're so small. By making things.
Think about that.
Okay.
No, I don't know that I can come up with any thinking right now. I'm just like, I don't know if I agree with that or if it makes sense to me. I don't know if that feels true for me. Can you provide an illustration?
So I can like, let me see if I can use an example. Today, we have no topic. I chose that and like pulled you into my choice with like, we're not going to choose something. And you're like, are you sure? And then Thursday, you're like, are we going to do a topic? And then Friday, you're like, are we going to do a topic? And I was like, nope, we're just going to So today, if we'd had a topic and it was very planned out and we thought ahead and we knew where we wanted to go and blah, 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 like it would have been small and neat and whatever. The likelihood that I'm trying to like work surprise in here, like it makes it, yeah, like there's no chance for anything. It's just limiting and tight and small. If we show up, we're a little bit like, if we decide we want to be expansive, we show up with all of the things, and not having a topic allows like surprise to be like just part of where we go.
I think it's on a gradient or a spectrum actually, because I think when we have turned up, the first time we had one of these conversations and recorded them, we had a little bit more of an idea. We'd had a conversation about the conversation and we had more of an idea. And as it has gone along, we've had, let's talk about, I don't know, parenting. Let's talk about what happened to you on Friday. And so we've had a topic. Today, there was nothing.
Yeah.
and I may be wrong, but it feels like this was the first time there's been literally nothing. I can look back in here in my phone and see, oh, should we talk about, I don't know, attachment? Should we talk about blah? Yeah, great. Should we talk about X? So there's been a word. There's been a word which has acted like a direction, a
a
weather
handhold.
vane. Yeah, a weather vane or something to hang on to, even if it's just the word. Today there was nothing.
Yes.
And that feels different today.
Yes.
And in the conversations where we've had a word, which has been the sum total of the plan that was available for that conversation, let's say the word attachment, for example, I don't know if that was one of the words, that has been a plan in itself, and it has provided something.
Yeah. Direction.
Okay. A place for my thoughts to start, generating from.
Yeah.
Creating from. Something for me to think about and ponder. I'm going to ponder attachment. I'm going to think about attachment. Today there was nothing. There was no word.
Yeah.
And which of course is completely perfect after the week that I've had experimenting with trust and yes, and uncertainty. But let's talk about me, Ali.
Right. Back to you.
Yeah, back to me. You're bringing yourself into this.
God damn it. Rude.
So rude. I also have a suggestion. This goes in, so great minds, fools seldom differ. Fools seldom differ. You've heard that expression. So focus, Mia. Today was different. And after the week I've had and the week you've had, oh, the sweet irony of it. Hands still sweating.
Yeah, you're still in it.
I'm still in it.
And it may be that, like, hindsight, at the end of this, we may be like, maybe we swung a little too far. Maybe we should have a word. So we're calibrating always. How much do we need? A word, maybe. Do we need a word with like 3 bullet points? Do we need a word with like, what are the top 10 things we want people to, I mean, you're right. It's a spectrum, and we're going way out into left field right now. We're so far over.
And there's no rule, Ali. So it's not a case of, when we went out far left field and had no word, shit hit fan, stuff went wrong, never do that again. It's just that that's what happened that time. Obviously, if one repeated the process, like a scientific experiment, if you kind of like gathered more data and you went, actually, every time we do that, it's pants, it's rubbish, then we'd be like, okay, let's just move back a little bit. Maybe we have a word, half a word, a letter, whatever. But we move back a little, we come back this way a little. But it's not about, just want to make that clear for Tracy, it's not about creating rules.
Correct.
They just become a box again.
The practice of trust, which is what I kind of hear for both of us, means being with the discomfort of not knowing something. And we're really pushing ourselves. Today was an experiment. Today was an experience of not knowing where we're going to go. We're literally going to put ourselves in the experience of not knowing, which you've been doing this week as you have been supporting the leadership of somebody inside of our leadership team.
And that working with people
and part in your other job
somewhere
right?
Else. And somewhere else as well.
So you've been really like pushing yourself to just show up and not have to have everything figured out, and trusting that you will be okay and you can flow and you can like bring what is required into the space. And like from that, you have learned something about yourself. Why would you do that? Like, why would anybody choose to do that? What have you learned about yourself?
I've learned that I am probably going to become a construction worker.
I need a plan.
Yeah, just a ballet dancer.
Tell me what to do.
What have I learned about myself? I wasn't expecting this question, Alison
Oh,
Garner. Let me just. I have learnt, and I'm using the word learnt like I've experienced.
yes. Yeah.
I've experienced myself as being able to do stuff that I thought was difficult and stuff that I thought I couldn't do. So, if I was to make that into a proper sentence, it was, I have learned I can do things that I didn't think I could do. I've learned that I've experienced not knowing where the toilets are and not taking a handbag full of toilet roll with me. And it's okay.
Yeah.
I find what I need as I go. I have found what I've needed in the moment as I've gone along. And I've also experienced very much not knowing whether what I'm bringing is right or is wrong, not knowing whether, like, who knows what is good and what is bad? That
Yes.
fable that we
The
talked about,
farmer. Yep.
the farmer. I've experienced that, like, who knows if this is good or if this is bad?
Mm.
I've experienced that. Like,
And what
how
is that
can I know?
experience? What is that experience like for you?
Um, freeing,
Yes. I like just see
freeing,
Braveheart's face, like screaming, Freya! Like it's so good, right?
freeing
Yes.
takes a load off.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I've experienced myself and learnt. I'm having a weird time around the word learnt. It, I don't know why.
Hmm.
I can look at that in a second, but I've experienced trusting myself. That's what I've experienced. That's what I've learned. I think it's been very experiential for me, as opposed to kind of like, I've learned this and I've learned that. Learn, somehow it means like, oh, I've learned a rule. I think that's how I'm holding it in my head. Like, oh, I've
Wow.
learned that I can do hard things. Well, I don't know if I can do the next hard thing. I don't know that.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's where I'm at. It's like,
You're open. You're open
mm,
to doing the next thing without
thing.
knowing.
Yeah, the next thing, not knowing whether it will be good
It's
or it
almost
will be
like
bad.
you're letting go of that need to categorize or to like to judge it. You're just like, trust.
Yeah, because how can I know? How can I know if this exercise that I've created is going to, I obviously have some word, some place that I'm heading, but I literally had two sentences of where I was going for a whole day's training.
Amazing.
That was where I was going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And somebody actually fed back to me and said, "Oh, I love that you said you've made all this up."
Yeah.
Because that's what happened on Tuesday. It was all made up.
How much of like what we're doing is all made up? It's, I mean, almost everything.
Mm.
Our money system, our value,
Oh,
grade,
right. Okay, right.
like it's
Yeah.
all
It's all, yeah.
arbitrary.
It's all made up. Yeah, it's all made up. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think we smashed that
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I do want to
Nice.
share. Can I
Do.
share what I learned
Yes,
about
please do.
myself? The Why are you laughing?
I do actually want to say something.
Okay, say it.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
you, like,
I do
I
want to say
do want to share. Yeah, do want to share. Go.
Okay, so what I've learned this week is that so to give some context, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but I did a ketamine treatment. I've never done psychedelics, and
Mm.
it's something that I've been curious about. It's something that several of my clients have found the benefit of. And so just from like a curiosity standpoint and also challenging my own relationship to drugs and, whatever, I decided to do a ketamine treatment. And that
Mm.
was an exercise in trust because um, I had no experience with psychedelics ever. So my, what that trusting that, uh, hold on, let me see how I want to say this. I had to trust, first of all, to be in that room and to be in a vulnerable position where I'm under the influence of a drug that I'm not sure how it's going to mess with my thinking, my brain, my body, whatever. I had to really trust the person in the room who was taking me on my journey. It was a clinical
Mm.
setting. It was very safe. There was a lot of like checks and balances. So for me, that's kind of where I was more likely to do it because I felt a little bit safer that somebody was checking all of the boxes around like whatever. And then now I'm in this room and I'm under the influence of this drug
Mm.
and I still had agency and I knew that this man who had taken me through the journey so far was in the room with me and really trusting that he wasn't going to do anything or that actually I needed to trust that he was going to care for me and help guide me on my journey. I had to trust him like completely because once I had the ketamine in my system, I was actually physically very numb. Like I couldn't feel my face and like my body parts were all just kind of like you could have cut off my foot and it's not that it wouldn't have hurt, but it would have been like, I don't really care. That's kind of how I felt.
Mm.
So it's a pretty vulnerable position to be in because you're just like,
Mm.
go ahead. And then to be on this journey, the psychedelic journey, had I not trusted myself to be able to do that journey and trusted that that was something that I had no knowledge of. I couldn't plan ahead, any of it, to really just immerse myself in that experience. The result is I experienced a level of beauty and love and expansion and mind bending that I couldn't have experienced, that I have not yet in my life ever experienced before.
Mm.
And that's fucking significant to me
Mm.
because it was a powerful, powerful experience. And I'm still feeling a lot of that, of what I experienced while I was on my journey, even today,
Mm.
about 24 hours afterwards. And what a lovely opportunity that has become for me. And what a
Mm.
lovely, um, what's the right word? Result. Ugh, I don't like
Mm.
that word, but you get it.
Mm. 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 Outcome, impact,
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knowing that like I'm more likely to do things without knowing as a result because I can it's so much more freeing. It's uncomfortable. There's no doubt about it. I'm not saying that I'm like, we just go and fucking don't know shit. It is
Mm.
uncomfortable every time I do it. I was not comfortable when I put that ketamine in my mouth. My heart rate, I could feel my heart rate. I could feel
Mm.
the tension. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. This is super scary. I have a lot of fear
Mm.
around it.
Mm.
And even while I was in it, I was still just like, oh, this is a little scary. Like I still had
Mm.
enough agency where I was like, this is kind of
Mm.
scary. I don't
Mm.
like the feeling of being out of control, but man, I kind of do
Mm.
like the feeling of like floating
Mm.
and being.
Mm.
So, yeah,
When you said every time I do it, and I just want to be clear,
do
you
stuff
don't.
without knowing, not ketamine.
Great, thank you. Not every
Yeah,
time you do ketamine, because this
I've
was
only
the
done it
first
once.
time you had. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's every time you step into the unknown.
yeah.
Mm.
I am uncomfortable.
Mm.
Being expansive is uncomfortable. It just is. So are
Yeah.
burpees, right? And I do them a lot because I want the result. I want to feel fit. I want to gain strength. So I choose to do the burpees.
Mm.
Same way, if I want to have a freer, more effortless experience instead of efforting and like pushing and shoving and like right, wrong and knowing and That to me is like limiting, and I want a freer, more peaceful experience of life with all of life.
Yeah, and what I'm noticing in what you said was that every time you do it, stepping into the unknown, it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
So I'm curious, how do those two pieces work together? The every time I do it, it's uncomfortable, and I am creating a more expansive, freer
Yeah.
experience for myself. How do those pieces fit together?
So the discomfort of not knowing things is just part of, it's just the way it is. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have to be bad,
Yeah,
right? It doesn't have to
yeah,
be good. It just
yeah,
it just is uncomfortable, just like a
mm,
burpee, just like a push-up, right?
yeah, yeah.
If I want to generate a deeper, fuller, richer experience of life, just like a burpee, just like a push-up, there's going to be some discomfort there. The way that I have now come to realize is that pre-planning also is uncomfortable. Managing all of the potential future outcomes is also uncomfortable. And it's a lot of effort and a lot of energy and a lot of anxiety that goes into
Mm,
all of that. Trusting and not knowing stuff is also uncomfortable. And there's just this bigger, juicier, yummier outcome on the other side, which is why I continue to practice that. Whereas, like the anxiety that goes along with pre planning, at the end of the day,
mm,
it's like, okay, I had 20 different outcomes. I planned for all of them, and one came true. Satisfaction, but not like
mm,
it's not,
mm,
it, it doesn't satiate. It's like eating a
mm.
bag of potato chips. Like in the moment, you're like, this is what I wanted. And then after you're done, you're like, I'm not full.
No.
And now I feel like shit.
Mm. I'd like to sort of just presence us to, we're not saying not to plan, because creating a plan
Yes.
brings us up against ourselves.
Yeah.
We get the opportunity to study ourselves, see ourselves. How am I behaving in relation to this plan? I'm not doing it. I've done it and now I'm avoiding it. I wrote it out and I've put it in a drawer. Blah, 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 all the things. So planning,
Yeah.
creating a project,
Yes.
um, is becomes a container in itself, doesn't it? An opportunity
Yeah.
for us to come up against our limiting,
Yes.
safe, keep small and safe
Yeah.
beliefs, thoughts. Yeah.
The
Mm.
the simplified way is that I think of it is oh, I just had it. Hold on. Um, Depending on what you want, that's what sets the thing, whatever you decide to do. If I want a freer, richer, deeper, more meaningful experience of life, I'll probably do the not knowing a little more often.
So you plan to step into the unknown more often.
I will choose to not plan
Mm,
more often because that's
mm,
gross and I hate it and it's scary.
mm,
And yet there are times when a plan is absolutely necessary and
mm,
the ability to calibrate, fine, but it depends on what I want. If I
mm,
want to grow my muscles, I have a plan. I will go to the gym this often. I will work up my weights. Like I will also
mm,
have a plan. So depending on what I want, I think
mm.
that's what then sets where I play on the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, I feel another conversation, I feel a topic, a word that we can play with in another conversation has
Mm.
become available at the end of
Yeah.
this conversation. Um, are you are you good to wrap up?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say before we say goodbye to Tracy?
Yes. Let's see. I always love to end with a takeaway, something I learned today. Learned. Is that a word? Learnt?
I
Takeaway?
believe it is. It's a past participle, learnt.
What did you call me? Okay.
You heard me.
You heard me. What did I learn? I wrote shit down.
Mm.
Oh, that I learned that we have most of us. Okay, I learned that I have a relationship with comfort that's really complicated, that I
Mhm.
make discomfort wrong or bad or
Mm.
scary.
I like that,
How about
Ali.
you, Mia? What have you learned?
Mm. I'm now thinking, did I learn something as good as she did? What did I learn?
It
You
better be
learned such a
better.
good thing. You learned such a good thing. Um, this week isn't over, and I'm still in the practice of stepping into the unknown. I appear to be living through these experiences. They're not killing me. Yeah.
Mm,
And I have a feeling I'm thriving. I'm creating space to thrive rather than survive.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful. Great
Lovely.
job. Toodles.
Mm.
Cheerio.
Tiddle, tiddle pip.